From ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 in Southern California. This is Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Welcome out to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio. I am your host, Tyler Jorgensen. And today we have Charles Mellen, who, and I think you go by Chad. But
yeah,
Chad
unless
Mellen,
unless you're my dad, it's Chad.
All right. So Chad, I'm super excited to talk with you because I love what you've created. I love the product that you're currently working on. I love the industry that you're working in. Chad is currently the founder and CEO of Knack Inc., which is a company that creates Knack Bags. And we're going to talk all about what those are. And as we get into that and how you ended up doing this. But before that, just welcome out to the show. We're super excited to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Tyler. I'm really psyched to be here too.
So Chad, when was the moment in your life that you realized you were an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I've quite gotten to that yet because, when you hear entrepreneur, it's like this scary thing. It's like you're a Viking. You've burned all the boats on the bridges or on the beaches. And I'm not quite there yet, I don't think. But I guess it was when I had to make payroll for the first time. That was, that was something. I didn't call the CFO. I didn't call anyone else. It's like, okay, do we have the cash in the bank account to make payroll? And then I realized, yep, this is on me.
So the interesting thing, we were talking a little bit earlier that there's kind of two general types of entrepreneurs and business owners. The ones who were born that way, right? I mean, from 5 years old, they were having lemonade stands, and by high school, they're selling stuff out of their trunk. And then there's the ones who take the career path and really learn and this is, I have so much admiration for this because they fix a lot of the gaps that entrepreneurs have, which is that, or like the born guys, that they understand the operations, they understand the systems, they grow systematically. Then they get to a point where they see an opportunity in the market and they decide to go after it. So you came up through the ladder, right? You've worked with some big, amazing companies. What was the aha moment for you that made you decide you wanted to start Knack?
Well, it's interesting. I had spent a lot of my time in the accessory business. So I was with Coach, as you mentioned. I was at Toomey for a long time. And the interesting thing about those businesses is that I had kind of an entrepreneurial role in a corporate environment. At Coach, I was head of business development, and I launched their footwear business for them. At Toomey, when I started, we were a small business and grew dramatically, and got them into e-commerce, for example. That was something I did there. So I always had carved out kind of an entrepreneurial role within a major company, and but still, you had all the backstops and you had all the support, and it's a different environment. When we came to Rhode Island, I came here to ultimately run AT Cross Company, which is a writing instrument brand. And we sold that business to a private equity firm. And I left a couple years after the sale. And, frankly, I was too young to retire. And what happened was I was on this fishing trip to Costa Rica. And I landed in the San Jose airport over the weekend. And I was still doing some consulting work. So I had a business backpack with me that was like filled with a laptop and a couple other things. And I had a duffel that had, shorts and some t-shirts and some fishing stuff in it. That was like half full too. I don't speak Spanish. And I'm schlepping these two bags through the San Jose airport, trying to get on this puddle hopper to the coast. And I'm sweating and I'm trying to get a coffee. I don't understand the language. I've got my phone in one hand. I'm looking at translator apps to figure out what the heck I'm doing. And I'm like, this is a flipping nightmare. And I said, when I get home, I'm going to get a bag that I can carry that carries all my work stuff and my clothing stuff, just travel and work, everyday stuff. And I want to carry it every day. And I want to keep switching between bags. I went back home, started to look for this thing. I'm like, wait, I can't find it anywhere. This bag doesn't exist. Why doesn't this bag exist? The days of us flying conveniently somewhere with a nice set of luggage and then handing that off to a porter and then going to a hotel and that getting handed off and being brought up to your room. And then you take your briefcase with all your things in it or your handbag with your things in it to the office. It doesn't exist anymore. You're getting up in the morning, you're going to work, you're going to work out, you're going to meet a client, you're going to hop on a plane or a train to go somewhere for a day. Like, who wants to carry all the bags that are for those specific needs? It just doesn't make sense. And I was shocked, Tyler, that there wasn't a bag out there. That's when I knew that I had to start something. someone else had this same problem that I did. I had to start and get this problem solved. And that's when I think it hit me.
It's I'm so excited by it because, I'm that guy that will travel through Asia for a week with a single backpack, right? I'm the guy who, everyone else is loading up tons of, I just took a trip on a train up to Portland and then flew back, and that whole trip with a single bag.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of a bag that was deliberately designed to meet both like the work and the travel and the clothes side, right? Because usually it seems like they're one or the other. And I know you spent time with Toomey, right? That was one of the bags I used to use. I had I had my messenger bag for Toomey and then a backpack for everything else. It just seemed excessive, right? I'm simple. I want one thing.
Spot on. And the whole industry, it's a $32 billion industry. The whole industry is set up and predicated on the fact that existing brands want you to buy as many of their single-use products as possible. So you've got this wardrobe of bags that do one thing really, really well. And the big aha was, wait, why can't one bag do a couple things really, really well? And we're not claiming to be sustainable or, anti-consumerist or anything like that. If you like, carrying around a lot of bags, go for it. But it seems to me that there's a real need out there to kind of simplify what you carry one bag with you every day. And that's what it does a lot of things for you really well.
All right. So you came back from this trip, you have this epiphany after you couldn't find the product but how do you make that jump, right? Because you've been the guy that has run great companies and you've worked and led some amazing initiatives. That's not the same thing as the guy who's now going to start a company.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration to do it, to go for it, right? Let's start with that.
I literally was doing nothing. At that point
so time was your inspiration.
Time. It's I have some time. And, it's interesting, your comment earlier about people born to it and people who kind of come to it later in life. The one thing that I had that I'm not sure a lot of folks have when they start out earlier is I had this amazing network. I mean, just an amazing network. So let me give you an example. I don't know how to design product, but there's a lot of great product designers I've worked with. And I don't know how to design packaging, but there's a lot of great packaging designers I worked with. I couldn't go into a factory and tell you, we should have 8 stitches per inch or 12 stitches per inch in this. I know sourcing and development people that can do that.
Right.
And, I was able to kind of call on this network, bounce the idea off of people I really respected, and then say, does this make sense? And, just the number of light bulbs that went off in people that I was talking to about the idea said, there's something here for me. And then, by the way, if you're excited about it, would you be interested in helping me? And, got a lot of help from folks. So that was really what I did first, was just saying, am I crazy? Is this just me? Is this just a Chad problem? And I found out, no, it's quite a big issue. And it was a big issue with people who've been in the category, in the industry for a while, and people who I really respected.
I think what you're saying is what I think a lot of young entrepreneurs struggle with, right? And that is, you didn't necessarily know the how, but you knew the who.
Yeah.
Right. And so the challenge when you're young or inexperienced, even if it's later in life, if you're doing something completely out of your zone of experience, is that you have to figure out the how and the who.
Yeah.
Right. Where you were able to say, you know what, I don't know how. I have a vision for what I want to create, but I can go to all of the who that I've met over my career and lean into that. And that's amazing. I always encourage young people or anyone who's trying to grow in business to really focus on growing the who, learn from others, grow your network, get experience, try new careers, try new jobs, because the people are what are going to allow you to grow faster. Right. So,
and the other thing, Tyler, treat people right. Always treat people right. You might think, hey, I'm in marketing. Hey, I'm managing a killer campaign. I don't need to really talk to the person or understand the person who is, worried about how the cardboard bends in my packaging. No, you kind of do, because you never know how that person might help you out or might have insights that you just don't have.
When you decided to get started, you went through the first set of who's, right? Asking, am I crazy? Is this a good idea? Do you want to help? What was the first major obstacle that you hit and how did you overcome it?
I really wanted to do this in the United States for a lot of reasons. I wanted to make it in the United States for a lot of reasons. I talked to a lot of manufacturers that I've known in the United States, and then found out we just simply couldn't do it. The product's too complex. The needlework skills, the sewing skills, the manufacturing skills just weren't in the United States anymore at the level that we needed and at the cost we needed. Yes, you could get it, but it was just no one would be able to afford the bag. That was a huge stumbling block because then that puts you into a very different type of business when you're importing. Your cash cycles are much longer. Your working capital needs are much higher.
Yep.
It's all the stuff that I was hoping to avoid. And that was something we had to overcome. And we had to go to Asia and call on a network that I had there and find some really great partners over there. People who treated their employees well and treated their suppliers well and treated their customers well. And we found them and we've got some great partners now.
That's great. How long was it from you decided you wanted to start this bag to where you actually got the first prototype? We'll call it and then the next question to that. So How long did it go from idea to prototype and then from prototype to first sale, like actually end market?
I think you're going to see I'm not the smartest or quickest guy you've ever talked to. So we started talking about this at the end of 2015 and really got involved. I hired a designer in 2016. The first prototype happened at the end of 2016. I still have that bag in my office. It's like my inspiration. It was actually not bad. I don't think anyone would have worn it, but it was not bad. Proved concept. So that was from the idea, which was September 2015 to first prototype was about 15 months. We sold our first bag on October 26, 2018. So, almost 3 years and 2 months after the idea, it took some time.
So when you got the first prototype, right, and then you decided to get into production, how did you determine your go-to-market strategy?
Well, I wanted to be direct to consumer. I knew that. And that's really what I wanted to focus on solely. I'd spent much of my career selling to consumers, but through retailers. Mm-hmm. And I have nothing against that model from a business perspective. But I thought it was really, really important to keep the consumer front and center. And I couldn't figure out how to do that when I'm selling to the consumer, or we call them Knack Packers. I was selling to a Knack Packer through somebody else. It just made no sense to me. And also, you lose control of all sorts of things, of how your brand is presented, how it's priced, how, just all sorts of things like that. And I didn't want to lose control of that because I thought it was really important to tell our story directly to consumers. So we knew we wanted to go direct to consumer. That was the first and foremost thing. And, the beauty of what's happened now versus like when I launched Toomey's site in 2001, you can do it. You can do it pretty easily. Better than I do. We didn't have to go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a proprietary site. We got onto Shopify and were able to launch pretty quickly. Product was probably more complicated than distribution for us.
Yeah, it's amazing how that's evolved, right? In some ways, production has gotten more complex because of distance and communication language, but the tech side has almost gone the other direction.
Yeah.
Now at the highest levels, things always get tricky, but it's nice that you can prove concept and get moving. So you launched October 26, 2018, started selling. What was the first moment where you realized we're onto something good? This is going to win.
When we completely sold out about 3 months later, I had bought so much inventory. I thought I was literally going to be gifting my grandchildren Knack Bags, and we sold out. And it's unfortunately been a situation where it's happened pretty consistently since then. I said, okay, that's really, we've got something here. And we were getting great feedback too from Knack Packers. Like, oh boy, I really never understood I needed this thing until I saw your bag, and your bag really delivers on what you promise. So, which comes to another thing that I think is really important and maybe a point of difference in what we do. What we do is that, we've got this guiding principle that we kind of, my partner and I kicked off in 2015, which is everything we do, everything we say, we want to do it as if we're doing it for or to or with a friend. And it's amazing how that principle, I guess it's just a derivation of the golden rule, but how that principle has informed so much of what we do, from whom we hire to how we treat each other, to how we develop product, how we market and communicate to Knack Packers. It's really, would you do this to a friend? Would you do this for a friend? And, how would a friend react? And it's a very clarifying principle, very simple and very clarifying, but it really informs so much of what we do.
That's a neat guiding principle, especially if you're the kind of guy that is kind to your friends. Then it's really a strong guiding principle. And you can see it because I think everything on our conversation, everything I'm seeing in your company so far comes off warm and genuine and not manipulative or salesy, or, there's no bait and switch. In fact, I was more impressed when I received the product and saw the packaging than I was expecting, because so many products, they flash something online. When it shows up, it's less than expected. I've been very impressed so far with the product. When it came, I did a whole unboxing and a review, and I kept being like a little bit surprised because it hit all these things that as a traveler, I loved. And I'm like, man, I didn't expect this, right? I've gone through a Patagonia bag recently. I've gone through like an Ogio bag recently. I used to use it to me. And now I'm like, oh, but this might hit all of them, because every other one I felt like I had to sacrifice something.
Well, that's because they're all legacy brands. They're great brands and they make fantastic products. So I don't want to put them down. But, if you've got a dynamic lifestyle that changes and you want to be prepared for that, there's not a lot out there. We like to think of our bags as that kind of travel friend you take with you. You can bitch to, you can be happy with, you can share things with, but they're always with you, and they don't let you down. And if our bags do that, or at least partially do that, we're really happy.
That's awesome. So you get started, you're, October 26, 2018. You've got a pretty good sized team now. What were some of the first hires that you made, and how important were they?
The very first, well, besides my partner, who was a guy named Keith Bristol, he helped me launch the Toomey website. We've known each other for ages, and he really understands that side of the business. The first person we hired was our designer, and then our developer over in Asia, so that we could actually, when I kind of struck out here domestically, we could actually get some things going. So really, it was product centric, in terms of our initial hires. But then we had to build out the marketing team, and we knew that social was going to be very important for us, and creating content that at least tried to tell our story was going to be really important to us, and creating content that folks could empathize with and realize was authentic and not, as you said earlier, salesy. That was really important to us also. And to find the right people that had that kind of voice was pretty critical. And then finally, customer service. Given that we try to live by this code of, treat everyone like, and do everything to someone like you would to a friend. If a customer has an issue, we don't think of that as, a customer. It's our friend has an issue, and what do we do to solve it? It leads to sometimes some decisions that maybe not the best decisions financially, but they're ultimately the right decisions. I'll give you an example. And this is why I'm really, really pleased with our customer team. If you remember those fires right before Christmas in Denver, a woman had gotten a Knack bag for her son, which had gotten delivered the day of the fire. The house burns down, the bag's gone. And she called and said, listen, this is the situation. I just wanted you guys to know the bag we proved it was delivered and we sent her a new bag. It's kind of the right thing to do. You told me you lost your bag because your house burned down. You're my friend. I'd send you a bag, right?
Yep.
So,
and I love that's such a great example of the guiding light. It's a horrible example from a real life perspective.
Yeah, poor woman.
But you're right. If that was your friend, it'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right. Of course. Oh, I got you. But sometimes we think from the business perspective, well, we met our obligation.
Yes.
We can prove that we delivered it. We can't control natural disasters, right? It's a very airplane company. Right. That's like an airline company response. Well, we can't control those, right? And it's like, yeah, but I'm still the one stuck at the airport. I'm still the one without the bag. Like, how could you? So I love that guiding principle of, if that was my friend, how would I have handled it? And so you did.
And by
really,
getting back to the kind of concept of authenticity, that person's going to be able to say, hey, this brand did right by me, and mean it. Not like, oh, it was cool or sexy, or that's the reason why I bought it. Maybe it was cool or sexy, but the real reason they're telling someone is that they did something really different or unexpected, as you said, kind of above and beyond.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. We do that. We go above and beyond for our friends, but not always for other people. So I think really it's a powerful guiding principle that I think is really strong. As you guys are reaching, so again, 2018, 2019, pandemic hits, traffic slows down. Did that impact you guys?
Oh my gosh, yes. We came out of the gates really hot. We were really excited. And then, boy, March of we literally had the best week in the company, the first week of March in 2020. It was phenomenal. We were literally sitting. I often, do you know It's a Wonderful Life, the movie? Okay. And do you remember when Jimmy Stewart's going home for Christmas and his uncle's got the payroll and he loses it?
Yep.
And Jimmy Stewart finally is like prosperous. He's got his pipe in his mouth. He's got his wreaths under his arm. Everything's going to be great. And he finds out, I can't remember his name, Uncle Jimmy or whatever his name was, lost the payroll. And now he's going to be bankrupt. And we went from having the pipe in our mouth and the wreaths on our arm that first week of March to, oh my gosh, we've lost the payroll. Business just dried up. No one was traveling. No one was commuting. The world was ending. So the first thing we did, besides kind of the smart business things that you do, which is tighten some expenses, we said we've got to change our messaging. People aren't going to be traveling. This idea of everyday work and travel just doesn't make sense if people aren't traveling. We've got to tell people that this is a great work from anywhere bag. If you are getting sick of being in your house and you want to go to the park and work, if you are trying to go from your small office or your small dining room to your bedroom to work, take your stuff, pack our bag and go. And that sustained us. We didn't see sales drop in 2020, which was great. And then that message got us back on track in 2021. We had a great year in 2021. Awesome. So as people started to travel again. So it's really trying to understand again, okay, we're not the only ones in this pandemic problem. What are our Knack Packers dealing with, and how can we help them? How can the brand help them? How can we put a message out there to say that our product actually isn't something that should sit on a shelf during this pandemic? It's something that can actually help you get through it.
I love how you tend to lean back into your community, really listen to them. Any advice for other companies that may be trying to grow that community cycle better?
If you really put your in our case, the Knack Pack or the customer at the center of things, you really should be doing, they should be informing everything. And we run new products by our customers. We run new colors by our consumers. We survey them fairly frequently. We've got a process by which all emails and DMs and messages on Facebook and calls in are assimilated so that we can learn from what people are saying and understand both good and bad. And there's just bad out there too. So we really try to put our Knack Packers at the center of everything. And I mean everything. Is it easy to pay? Is it simple to shop? Is our packaging easy to understand? And really reach out to people and continue to ask those questions, both through formalized as well as informal methods. And I think that's really, really critical when you're starting out, especially with the consumer brand and a brand that has lots of competition. It's the way to get people to I think believe you're authentic and you care about them.
I totally agree. What are some of the company's big goals as we are moving into 2022?
There's a few things that we want to do. We're going to be introducing new product in 2022. We want to bring new consumers into the franchise that may have similar needs. In other words, I want to have a bag that does multiple things, but backpacks aren't right for them. So we've got some other products that we're going to be bringing to market. So that's really important. We'd really like to not pivot, but build on the foundation that we built in the United States and bring the concept overseas. Most of my career I've spent with brands that have done at least half their business overseas. And I know that the need that we all have seen in the United States and the Knack Packers have seen exists in Europe and in Asia, Latin America. And so I think it's a real big opportunity for us. And it's something that, we really like to do. We also need to kind of expand our team, especially in the supply chain area. We can't keep going as a business where we have lots of stock. The business starts ramping, crazily, and then we're out of stock again. It's just, It's not consumer friendly. Knack Packers don't like it. I don't like it. No one likes it. So we've got to get some people on board that can help us with that. So those are really kind of product distribution, especially overseas, and then get the supply chain right so we can deliver on our promises.
All super important things. So, you and I both share a love of travel, and I often say business is great. It's fun. It's fun to create. It, provides life or, funds our lifestyle, but it's nothing if it's not helping us to build the lifestyle that we love. What is one thing on your personal bucket list you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Man, I got to get overseas. I'll tell you, Tyler, I've visited not probably over 40 countries in my career. I've been really, really blessed and fortunate and met some great, great friends, all across the world. And I haven't been overseas since literally November of 2019. And I really miss it. And I really, really miss it. I want to get out and see my friends that are overseas. I want to see countries overseas. And, it's not good to stay in one place for too long.
I think once you've caught that international travel bug and you understand, for me, it's such a refreshing perspective, like reset when I travel. They always say like, you can't come back the same person when you do a trip like that. And I think that growth is such a powerful like catalyst to my individual and professional growth. Feeling like I haven't been able to do that, you feel trapped. So I totally agree. It's on my list too.
Totally agree. And you know what? What is it? I don't know about you, but I'm assuming it's the same. What keeps you in the game? It's because you're learning new things every day. And that's been the beauty of this entrepreneurial journey that I've been on. I'm literally learning every day. And boy, there is no better way to learn every day, a lot every day, than going overseas, to be in an international environment. It is really a great experience.
I completely agree. So I want everyone to make sure they go and follow Knack Bags. That's KNACK Bags. They're on Instagram. You can find them at their website. If you want to connect with Chad on LinkedIn, he's on there. Knack is on LinkedIn. They're all over the place. Very easy to find. Great company to be a friend with, right? And be treated like a friend. So please go follow them and support them. Really appreciate the conversation and talking through how you guys came up with the idea, got it launched, and overcame some challenges. Appreciate you coming out on the show, Chad.
Thanks so much, Tyler. It was a great, great time.
Now, to all my biz ninjas, wherever you are listening, streaming, watching, whatever it may be, it's your turn to go out and do something.
Thank you for listening to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with Tyler Jorgensen. Please make sure to subscribe so you're first to hear new interviews and episodes. If you found this podcast to be valuable, please share it with a friend. Don't forget to visit our online dojo at bizninja.com to claim your reward for listening to the show.